Morning, morning. So, welcome, welcome. It's getting a little bit chillier, isn't it? You can certainly feel that winter is beginning to kind of edge in around the corners. We've been certainly very spoilt of late. And at this time of year, I always start to read again one of my favourite books by Catherine May, which is called Wintering. And she's a wonderful author, and the book talks about winter and what winter means to her as an individual. But she also talks about how we might have periods in our lives where we need to winter, to slow down, to withdraw, to take some time for ourselves, to look after ourselves. Might be after an illness, which is how she came upon this idea. It might be after a big change in our life, or maybe after a loss, that we just feel the need to kind of withdraw from the world for a little bit. Almost like we get that feeling in winter that we want to kind of stay at home and hunker down and really kind of just take some time on our own. So let me read you, before we start, a little bit from her book, Wintering. When I started feeling the drag of winter, I began to treat myself like a favoured child, with kindness and love. I assumed my needs were reasonable and that my feelings were signals of something important. I kept myself well fed and made sure I was getting enough sleep. I took myself for walks in the fresh air and spent time doing things that soothed me. I asked myself, what is this winter all about? I asked myself, what change is coming? So using this practice to take those words to heart and really treat yourself like a favoured child this morning, or whenever you're doing this practice, deciding that all of your needs and your body's needs are reasonable, whether that means following the flow with me or taking more time in rest, in child pose, whatever you feel your body needs today. Let this practice meet you there. So we're going to start lying down on our backs. I can take this little warmer scarf off as we start to move. So we'll just come down onto our backs, bringing your knees with you, and just maybe have a little rock from side to side as you almost try and gently burrow your spine down into the floor beneath you, just releasing through the lower back with those knees hugged in towards your chest. And from there, you can bring your feet down to the floor and just pause there for a moment to tune in with your low back. See how that feels. I'm practicing in the morning, so my back always feels a little stiffer. So I'm going to keep my knees bent, take my feet wide, and then rest my knees against each other. But if you want to stretch your legs out from the get-go, with your heels in and your toes out, you just do whatever feels right for your back, your body. The arms can rest on your chest, on your belly, or down by the side of you, whatever feels good. Closing down the eyes for a moment. Let's take a moment in stillness. And yoga would have us think that as we edge towards winter, in those colder months, that our practice reflects that. And whereas in the heat of the summer, we've got that inner fire, we've perhaps got more energy, so we might want to do a stronger, more energetic practice. In winter, by contrast, we slow things down. We edge towards that yin energy, that more introspective, feminine energy within us. Slowing things down, giving ourselves extra time. So taking this time at the beginning of the practice just to tune in with what your body needs this morning from your practice. Maybe you've still got some vestiges of that summer energy coursing through you, so you want to move, you want to flow. Or maybe like me, you're beginning, like Catherine May, to feel the drag of winter, slowing things down. So again, let this practice meet you where you are this morning. As you begin to slowly deepen and lengthen your breath. Letting go of the week thus far with every exhale, and just softening into the upper back, relaxing the body into the support of the floor beneath you. Just take a couple more there, setting yourself the intention of treating yourself like that favoured child this morning. Only doing as much as your body requires. So when you're ready, let's start by extending both arms, both legs into that lovely full body stretch. And just have a little moment there where you can stretch into the body, maybe wiggle into one side and then the other, maybe flex your feet, turn your wrists. Just take a moment, that pandiculation, that lovely intuitive movement, just to see what your body needs to open up into the space behind you and in front of you. And then when you're ready, we'll walk those feet back in close towards you, hip width apart now, and bring the arms all the way down by the side of you. Pressing down through all four corners of your feet as you inhale, let's start to lift up into a little shoulder bridge. It might be very low to start with. And then as you exhale, controlling that roll all the way back down. So beginning to flow with your breath. As you inhale, we push the hips up. Again, only coming up as high as feels comfortable for your body, your back, and then roll your way down. Let's do one more of those. Inhale, tuning into the movement and the breath. This time as you exhale, we'll come all the way down and just bring your right knee up and in towards your chest. Linger there for a moment as you soften into your back. Take care that the chin hasn't suddenly thrust up towards the ceiling there as you lengthen through the back of the neck, stretching out through the low back. Then start to draw some circles with that right knee, maybe using one hand with the other hand resting on the front of the pelvis to keep yourself nice and stable as you take that right leg round one way, getting into the hip, and then round in the opposite direction. Soothing our way towards our flow this morning. Then bringing that knee once more and hugging it in close towards you. Now see if you can keep that thigh close to your belly as you interlace your hands around the back of the leg. And as you inhale, take that leg up to the sky, but really keep that thigh close towards you. And then as you exhale, we bend. So we'll do that twice more. So as you inhale, you stretch up. Again, it might not be a completely straight leg if you're keeping that thigh close towards you. One more time to open up into the hamstring. And then this time we'll bring both feet back down underneath you and the hands down by the side of the body. Pushing up into your shoulder bridge and knowing you can do all of this with your hips on the floor. Really push into that left foot as you bring that right knee up towards your chest. And then again, we can extend it up towards the ceiling without dropping the hips. So keep pressing the hips up as you press up through the sole of the foot. And then bending right knee, ankle comes over the left knee. And again, just pause there for a moment as you open that knee out to the side. Keep pressing down through that left foot, feeling that balance across the front of the hips. And then slowly, slowly roll your way down, finding your way into reclined pigeon this morning. So maybe it's your right hand on the inside of the knee and you simply rock from side to side, or lifting up head and shoulders to hold around the thigh, or maybe even the front of the shin if you want a deeper stretch. But again, if you're practicing first thing in the morning, just listen to your body. Maybe take little movements here. You might rock, you might do some circles. Morning practice always feels perhaps a little less open than an evening practice. We might feel a little bit stiffer in the morning. So you might need to just modify according to when you're choosing to watch this. And then pausing there for a moment as you lower that left foot to the floor, arms come out level with the shoulders. We're going to cross right leg tightly over left leg above the knee. Scoot your hips over to the right. We'll come onto the tiptoe of the underneath foot. And we'll tip the knees over to the left. You can hug them up towards you a little more and use that left hand on your top knee for a little bit of deeper stretch. Or if it's really feeling a little tight in your back today, just slide those knees a little further away from you. You can turn your head and gaze over that back arm, breathing into wherever you feel those sensations down. The outside of the hip, into the low back, maybe into the upper back and the neck if you've turned your head. Lovely. Let's slowly come all the way back, uncross the legs. Give those knees a hug, rock. And placing the feet down, go ahead and square your hips up into the middle of your mat. Ready for that little shoulder bridge. And the option now is you inhale and lift the hips to reach both arms all the way back above your head. And then as you exhale, we bring everything back down, spreading the hands as we do so. So as we inhale, we push up, lifting the arms up and reaching back. And then exhale to lower all the way down. One more like that. Let someone in, reaching up, 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 up. And then exhale, coming all the way down. And this time when your hips reach the floor, we'll bring that left knee up and in towards the chest. Hugging that knee up and in, again, just releasing through the back. Then with the hand on the knee, just going to start to draw some circles with that left knee, little circles one way, and then taking it round in the opposite direction. Just noticing how that side might feel a little different to the other. And then hugging that knee in towards the chest. And again, keeping your thigh really close in towards your belly now as you interlace the hands around the back of the leg, softening the shoulders. And as we inhale, we're going to take that foot up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, bend the knee. So trying to keep that thigh close towards you as you extend the leg up on an inhale, little flex in the foot, and exhale to lower. Let's try that one more time. So again, one side might feel different. You can keep a bend in the knee, coming all the way down. Lovely. Bringing both feet underneath you. Arms down by the side of you, keeping the hands on the floor this time. We're going to push those hips up. Remember, you can do this with the hips on the floor. And this time, really ground into that right foot as you bring left knee up. And then extend that left leg up towards the ceiling without dipping into the hips. So keep pressing down into that right foot, building up a little bit of strength. And then hooking ankle over knee. And let that knee just press open to the side. And again, we'll pause there just for a moment if you can, pressing into that right foot. And then slowly we'll roll our way down, coming into that reclined pigeon, which again might mean just pressing the knee away from you and rocking, or interlacing the hands around the thigh, or maybe around the front of the shin. Again, maybe you continue with a little bit of movement, maybe a rock, maybe a little circle, whatever feels nice for your hips today. I like to just kind of rock there. It feels quite soothing on my hips. Nice. Let's come back to center, placing the right foot on the floor, arms out level with the shoulders so we can cross left foot, left leg tightly over right leg. So crossing above the knee if you can. We'll come onto the tiptoes and then drop the knees over to the right side. Again, you can scoot them up towards you and use that right hand on the top knee or thigh as you maybe turn your gaze over that left arm, just encouraging a little bit more rotation through the spine. Breathing into where you feel that twist. Lovely. Let's release, coming all the way back onto your back, uncrossing, giving those knees a hug. And this time as you hug your knees up and in, option to bring your nose up towards your knees. Just have a see how close you can get in that tight little ball. And then lower yourself down and deciding how you're going to come up to seated. So you might cross your ankles, hold your knees and roll your way up, or simply roll to one side. Now I'm going to sit with my right leg in front of my left leg. But you might choose to stretch the legs out in front of you or pop yourself up on a block if you need to. Lovely. Let's sweep those arms up to the ceiling as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hands to your heart and drop your chin down, just opening up into the back of the neck. Lovely. Inhale, reaching up, up, up. And exhale, hands to heart, chin to chest. Let's do that one more time. Reaching up. And bringing the hands to the heart. And now interlacing the hands, flipping the palms away from you as you take those arms up towards the ceiling. Maybe have a little stretch there into each side of the body as you really lengthen up and out of the waist. And then turn those palms the opposite way and round the back, pressing the arms forwards, dropping the chin to your chest as you get that lovely stretch between your shoulder blades. Lovely, taking the arms up. Let's take an inhale. And as you exhale, swing the hands behind you so you can lean onto your fingertips, pushing the chest forwards, lifting the chin, like rolling the shoulders away from the ears. Let's take one more inhale there. And as you exhale, push off your hands and come into a little forward fold. Just walking the hands as far away from you as feels comfortable as you ease your way down without losing that connection with your sit bones. So draw back through the hips as you lengthen out through the arms. You're going to take a little walk over to the left with your arms, really drawing back through that right hip. You might even be able to scoot those right fingertips a little further away from you to deepen that stretch in the right side. And then we're going to slide that left hand, bring it just by your left hip. And as you inhale, sweep that right arm up to the sky And as you exhale, let's come into a little side stretch. Coming up halfway as you inhale. And bending that underneath arm. Exhale back into that stretch. Lovely. One more time. Inhaling up. And exhaling to stretch. Lovely. This time we'll reach up. And coming into a twist, right hand comes across the body, finding your knee or your thigh, and we'll just bring the other hand behind you up on your fingertips, trying not to lean into that back hand. So you've still got that lovely leg through the spine as you turn your chest to the left. Lovely, coming all the way back. Now you can either stick with those side bends, or this time we're going to lean into your right side so you can bring your left shin behind you, coming into a little zigzag leg. Left hand is going to hold onto your shin or your ankle. Right arm comes up. And then we take that side bend. And this time we'll come all the way back up and swap sides. So the left arm comes all the way up and over. Inhale. Exhale as you come over to the left. Inhale through center. And exhale, let's come over to the right. So you've got the option to stay there, or we're going to add on, coming over to the left. This time as you come to the right, you can drop down onto your forearm and see if you can find a deeper stretch. Lovely, pushing up as you inhale. Last time, exhaling over to the left. Coming all the way up, either hand or elbow to the floor as you take that big side stretch. Coming all the way up through the center. Let's reach the arms up and then bring the hands behind you. So again, you can lean into your hands. This time, carefully bring both feet to the floor in front of you. You're going to take hold of your wrists or forearms just underneath your thighs so you can slide your toes back towards you, lifting up nice and tall through the chest and leaning back a little bit. See if you can come into a nice supported boat pose this morning. Lovely. Now you might choose to keep your hands clasping wrists or forearms, or hold on around the back of the knees, chest lifted, as you start to tap alternate toes down. It doesn't matter which leg you started with. Just do those little taps. Try to keep the other leg parallel with the floor, your ankle in line with your knee. As we take a couple more, let's do one more each way. Little taps, and then from there, let's come down left leg in front of right leg. Elegantly recrossing the legs the other way. Inhale, reaching up. And exhaling, hands to hearts. Lovely, interlacing the hands, taking those arms up towards the ceiling. And again, we're pushing up through the base of the index finger as you lengthen out of the waist. And then flip the palms the other way and round the back like an angry cat, pushing away through those hands. Lovely, reaching all the way back up as you inhale. And swimming the hands behind you as you exhale. Pressing into your finger pads, let's take a breath in. And as you breathe out, pushing off those hands and finding your forward fold. So again, as you extend the arms, this time we're really making sure that that left sit bone stays grounded down as you walk the hands to the right this time. Pulling back through that left hip as maybe you take the left arm and further away from you if you can. And then we'll bring the right hands just by your right hip, ready to circle the left arm up as you inhale. And over the top as you exhale. Lovely, coming up halfway, breath in. And back over into that side stretch. Lovely, one more time, inhale. Exhale to stretch. Let's find that twist, so inhale, reach up. This time left hand comes across to the opposite knee and we take that little twist, maybe turning your head over that back shoulder if that feels good. Lifting up nice and tall as you lengthen the spine. Nice deep breaths there. And then as you come back from the center, remember you can just do those side stretches with the legs crossed. Or this time, I'm going to bring the right shin behind you. Nearly forgot which leg I'd done there. And bring the right hand onto your shin. So left arm comes up and over the top. And then we swap sides. Let's keep the left hand on the floor for this first couple. We'll see how we go. So inhale. Exhale as you come over to the right. Inhale through center. And coming over to the left. So this last two, if you want to drop down onto your left elbow or forearm, feel free to join me. So coming down onto your forearm or your elbow, feeling that deeper stretch. And then we push all the way back up. Last time, over to the right. And let's do one more over to the left, either resting on your hand or your forearm, will come all the way back up. Bring the hands behind you, so again, you can lean into your hands and bring both feet in front of you. Again, we'll clasp forearms or wrists so you can lean back, dragging those toes towards you. And again, we'll lift up into boat pose. And maybe you stay there or holding on underneath the backs of the knees, or maybe you can lengthen the fingertips forwards towards me with your palms up. We're going to start to cross the ankles. And if this is a little bit too much, just do those toe taps we did before. Little crosses of the ankles, trying to keep the legs lifted. As you do those little crosses, feeling the core engaged. Lovely. Let's do a couple more. And then bringing both feet down, giving yourself a hug as you round the back. And then you can cross at the ankles, pull your feet towards you and roll over the knees to all fours, or find your way there nice and safely, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips there, finding that lovely tabletop position. And so sometimes we've got a tendency to drop our gaze back towards our navel. So just bring your gaze just beyond your fingertips there so the neck is in line with the spine as we come into our cat and our cow. So as we inhale, we pull the chest forwards and tilt your tailbone up behind you. And then exhale, rounding the spine like an angry cat. Maybe close your eyes here as you ripple that movement backwards and forwards, just undulating up and down the spine. Remembering you can always take your hands a little bit wider apart if your shoulders feel tight or your chest feels tight. Give yourself more space there. A couple more like that. So inhale, we pull the chest forwards, up. And then exhale, round the back, pausing in the angry cat now. And just bringing your bottom back towards your heels, sliding back towards that child pose. And when you get there, just walk your hands forwards a little bit. So see if you can lengthen out through the arms. We're going to keep the palms flat to the floor. Coming back onto all fours. And this time, continue to travel forwards. Take a little dip of the elbows and bring your elbows in close to your waist. Coming all the way back up. And then pushing back into child pose, starting to warm up the wrists. So inhale, we come forwards and dip the elbows. And then exhale, we push back into that child pose. A couple more like that. Inhaling forwards. And exhale, pushing back. Lovely. One more time. Pushing back. And this time we're going to come forwards, add that little dip. And as you come back, tuck the toes under and send your bottom back towards your heels in that half dog. And maybe you just roll across the balls of the feet there, getting a nice massage over your toes. And then if you can, keep those toes tucked as you walk your hands back towards you. Now you might keep your fingertips on the floor, or you might be able to lift yourself up, untucking the little toes. I know this is a tough one to toes, so you can always flatten your feet if it's really uncomfortable, or come up into standing kneeling. If you can, let's sweep the arms up to the sky. Once more, interlacing the hands. And as you push the palms up, press down into the balls of the feet, so you're getting that lovely stretch out through the feet. If you can bear it, we'll bring the hands behind you, interlace them again, this time drawing the knuckles down again, pressing into your toes. Oh, it's not called screaming toe pose for no reason, hey? Slowly release, coming back onto all fours, giving those feet a little flap there. Woo! So good for our feet, but I know it's a tough one. This time we're going to tuck the toes. We're not going to sit back on them anymore, I promise, as you find a downward dog. And as you find your downward dog, oh, that feels good, doesn't it? Just start to walk out the feet, bending one knee and then the other. Nice and slow there. There's no rush this morning. Pedaling out through the feet. Then as you find a moment of stillness in your downward dog, popping a bend in the knees, remembering that most heels are not going to touch the floor. So let's take the pressure off ourselves and just enjoy sending those hips up and back, stretching out through the sides of the body. You might be able to straighten the legs some, but even with straight legs, the heels might not touch. Then bending that right knee, just allow a deeper stretch in that left leg. Then we're going to float that right leg all the way up behind you, bending the knees. You can drop your heel to your bottom as you find that lovely hip opener. And draw some circles with that right leg. Inner thigh, brushing inner thigh. Might be big movements, might be small movements as you just circle into the hips, opening them up this morning. Then extending that right leg all the way back behind you as you inhale. And as you exhale, step or help it forwards, top of the mat. Lowering that back knee and flattening the toes. Both hands come to the inside of that front foot. I'm just going to walk that right foot a little further away from you. Left hand stays on the floor. You're going to take the right arm all the way up and reach the back of your mat with your thumb up. And then we come all the way back down. So as we inhale, we circle forwards and up. And exhale, we come all the way back. Lovely. Twice more big circles into the shoulders. Coming all the way back. And this time we're going to circle that arm and leave it there, reaching to the back of the mat. Now maybe you can turn that right foot out and let the knee roll open. And some of you might be able to bend that left knee, bring the heel towards you and see if you can take hold of it with your right hand. And then you pull back with the foot, turning your chest up towards the sky. If you can't reach your foot, you're just reaching the arm all the way back behind you, whatever feels good this morning. You're holding that foot, slowly, slowly let it go. And we'll bring both hands back down, walking that front foot between the hands, coming up onto your fingertips as you inhale, and exhale, moving the hips back into your hamstring stretch. And again, maybe you keep the knee bent and the foot on the floor, or pull the toes back towards you as you find that space in the back of the right leg. Maybe you choose to stay here, or once more, start to walk your fingertips back towards you. Keep that lovely flat back. So you try a little balance challenge, maybe bringing one hand onto your front shin, maybe both hands onto that front shin. Wibble, wobble, wibble, wobble. And maybe you can reach the arms out like aeroplane wings. Keep that lovely long spine, chin stays tucked in. And from there, we'll bring the hands down, bend that front knee, lift the back knee, downward facing dog. And do these little Shakti rolls now. So as you inhale, roll forwards to plank. And as you exhale, bend the knees and send the hips all the way up and back like a little piston on a train. Inhale, come forwards. Exhale, bend the knees, push the hips up and back. One more time. Inhale. And exhale, rolling through the hips there, coming forwards to plank as you inhale. And as you exhale, let's lower the knees and come down onto your tummy, taking the hands off the mat, nice and wide, up onto those little fingertips again. Hands underneath your elbows. And as you inhale, we lift on up. Head comes up last as you lift your chin. And then exhale to lower, open-hearted cobra. So as we do that twice more, think about leading with the back of the neck as you lift. And then stretching the chest forwards and down as you lower. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. Hands underneath the shoulders. Let's push back up onto all fours. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward dog. Again, have that little moment to move the feet, maybe move the hips, finding that sense of space. And then again, we pause in that stillness, maybe a generous bend in the knees as you, again, don't worry about what the heels are doing and instead think about stretching the rib cage back towards the thighs as you send those hips up and back. And we'll just bend the left knee, seeing how that feels, stretching into the back of the right leg. And then left leg lifts up behind you, bending the knee as you drop your heel to your bottom. Keep pressing into that left hand as you do those circles with your left knee. Big or small, whatever feels good. Taking that knee round in a circle. And then we'll extend that left leg all the way back behind you as you inhale. And exhale, step or help it forwards. Ooh, give it a hand to get there, dropping that back knee. I'm just going to walk my left foot a little out to the left so I can bring both hands to the inside of that front foot. Right hand stays on the floor, so this time left arm reaches all the way up and back, thumb up towards the ceiling, and then we come all the way back down. So inhale, circle all the way up and back, and exhale, we come back to the start point. Twice more. Inhale to open the chest, and exhale to release. This time we'll keep reaching to the back of the mat. You turn those left toes out in the diagonal and let that knee roll open. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you bend the right knee. See if you can take hold of the front of the foot, and then you pull back on the foot and maybe open your chest a little more towards the ceiling. If you can't catch your foot, again, you're just reaching to the back of the mat. So whatever works for you, opening up through the chest, the front of the hip. Slowly, slowly let that foot go. Both hands frame that front foot this time. Coming into our hamstring stretch, so up onto your fingertips as you inhale. Move those hips back as you exhale. And again, you can adjust, you can bend the knee and flatten the foot, or you can pull the toes back towards your face. And again, maybe you walk your fingertips back towards you. So you can see I've still got that lovely long spine, chin tucked in, maybe one hand onto the front shin, maybe both hands. Ooh, little wobbles as you feel your core engage. Maybe both arms reach out to the side. And then bringing both hands down, bending the knee, we'll meet in a downward facing dog. Option to stay there, have a rest, or join me in those little rolls. Inhale to plank. Exhale as you bend the knees, sending the hips up and back. Inhale, roll forwards. And exhale to push the hips. Lovely, one more time. Little playful Shakti rolls there. Inhale, come forwards. And as you exhale, knees down, chest down again, widening those arms, really taking those hands off the mat there. Back of the head leads. Inhale as you come up into the open heart in cobra. And exhale to lower. Lovely, twice more, inhale. So we're not throwing the head back at the top of that inhale. The chin is still more or less parallel to the floor. Let's come all the way back down, hands under the shoulders. And this time we'll push back onto all fours, tuck the toes, and sit your bottom back towards your heels. Again, finding that half dog. And then from there, walking your hands back towards your knees. And then from there, picking up your knees. So we're in a little squat position at the back of the mat. Maybe you keep your fingertips on the floor, or maybe you can bring your fingertips to your knees, push the knees away from you as you lift your chest, and bring your hands to your heart. And just pause there in stillness for a moment. Just see if you can find that balance point, taking your gaze on something that's not going to move. A little bit of dynamic power required now as we push up to stand, keeping those heels lifted as you raise on up, taking the arms all the way up. Heels stay lifted. Can you find that little balance? And then lower the heels, lower the arms. That was unexpected, wasn't it? Bending the knees, sweeping the arms out and up. Let's take an inhale. Exhale as you fold down over the legs. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Finding your flat back, breath in. And breathing out, we fold. Coming all the way back up as you reach the arms out and up, reach for the sky. And hands to heart. Lovely. Twice more, our half sun salutes. I think we need those. As we head towards colder weather, exhale to fold. Lifting up halfway, breath in. And breathing out, we fold. Let's rise on up, pressing down through the feet. And bringing the hands to the heart. Lovely. Adding on, inhaling up. This time as you exhale, swim the hands behind you. Just bring the hands onto your bottom. So you can roll the shoulders open, pointing the elbows back behind you. Lifting the chest. And then from there, we bend the knees generously, slide the hands down the backs of the legs as you take that forward fold, bringing the hands around the back of your thighs, or maybe your calves, or maybe even your ankles. And just bending one leg as you inhale. And then as you exhale, bend that knee. Either side, you're pushing your leg into your hand into your leg. Let's do one more each way, just one leg straightening at a time. Lovely. And then from there, sweeping the arms all the way out and up. Let's take an inhale and exhaling. Hands coming down the heart. And from there, bring the hands to the hips. We're going to turn your left foot out, maybe about 45 degrees, and take a big step forwards with that right foot, coming into our warrior one. So we've got the front knee bent, pushing down through the outside edge of that back foot. As you circle the arms up towards the sky, reaching up through the fingertips, and then bringing the hands all the way down to the heart. This time straightening both legs. Inhale, circle all the way out and up. Hands to heart as you bend that front knee. Exhale, lovely. Twice more. So each time we're not losing that connection through that back foot as you bring the hands down to your heart. Lovely. One more time. Inhale to circle out and up. And draw the hands down to your heart. Lovely. Keep that front knee bent this time as you sweep the arms up. And then bringing the hands behind you, interlacing those hands so you can draw your knuckles down, open up through the chest. Option to stay there, or hinging forwards, bringing yourself to the inside of that front thigh. Hands might stay on the back, or you might lift them up and over into your humble warrior. If you need more support today, just stack your hands on that right knee and come into more or less a flat back position. If you're in that humble warrior, you're gazing towards your back heel, letting those arms lift up and over. Then let those arms pull you all the way back up. Back into your warrior one. As you inhale, sweep the arms up. And as you exhale, bring the hands down and we'll meet in a downward facing dog. Option to stay there or flowing to a plank as you inhale. Knees lifted or lowered, your choice as you bend those elbows close in. Find your cobra this time, flattening the toes as you lift the chest. And lowering all the way back down. Coming onto all fours. Toes tuck bottom to heels. Take that half dog. And then from there, walking hands back towards your knees. So again, you're up on your fingertips as you pick up the knees, finding that little squat. Again, you can keep your fingertips on the floor, or once more, fingertips to knees, pushing the knees away from you as you lift the chest, hands coming to heart. A little challenge here, you might choose to stay here, or see if you can take a little twist to the right. Keep those thumbs close to the chest and keep the knees forwards. Come to the center, keep the movement nice and small. Ooh, she says wobbling. And then other side. Come all the way back through center. Are you ready for that little dynamic lift? So as you inhale, lifting on up, keeping those heels lifted as you can as you rise up. And then coming all the way down. That's a little challenge, isn't it? Give those feet a shake. And then bending the knees as you inhale, take the arms all the way out and up. And exhale, take that fold. Maybe the legs a little straighter, lifting up halfway, breath in. And breathing out, we fold. Lovely, rising to stand, breath in. And hands to heart, lovely. And again, it's half sun salutes designed to energize us. Exhale as we fold. Only doing the half ones. Inhale to lift. And folding on in. Lovely, rising on up. Hands to heart, adding on this next time. Let's sweep the arms out and up. And again, bringing the hands onto that low back. Fingertips pointing down as you lift the chest. And again, as you bend the knees, we slide the hands down the backs of the legs, holding onto your ankles, your shins, your thighs. Then as we inhale, we straighten one leg. And exhale, we fold. So we keep the body folding forwards as you just bend. Alternate legs, bending and straightening as we do one more each way. Inhale to straighten one leg and then to rebend. And then last time. Lovely, pushing all the way up. And bringing the hands down to the heart. And once more, bringing the hands to the hips. Right foot, we're going to turn out this time. And taking that step forwards with the left. So you might need to slide it forwards a little way so your knee is above your ankle. Pressing down through the outside edge of that back foot. Let's find that warrior one. So sweeping the arms up to the ceiling. Reaching up nice and tall before we bring the hands down to the heart. Straightening both legs this time. Inhale to reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Lovely. Twice more. Inhale. Pushing up towards the ceiling. And then sinking down. Lovely. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. This time we keep the front knee bent, sweeping the arms up. And then bringing the hands behind you so you can interlace them around your low back. And just pause there and just notice if, like me, you've interlaced them the same way. And just see if you can slide the fingers along one. So you interlace the awkward way. Draw the knuckles down. Maybe you stay there, or again, hinge forwards. Option to lift the arms up and over. Or bring both hands onto that left knee for a little bit of support there, coming into more of a flat back position. So wherever you are, if you're in that humble warrior, you're gazing towards that back heel. Lovely. Let those arms pull you all the way back up, reaching the arms up. Let's take an inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hands down. We meet the downward dog. Option to flow. Inhale, roll forwards to plank. And exhale, come down onto your tummy. Find your cobra or maybe an upward dog. We meet in downward dog. This time from your downward dog, let's walk your feet to your hands. Coming to the top of the mat, bending the knees generously so you can crane your elbows. Maybe have a little sway of the body softly from side to side. And keeping the knees bent as you dangle the arms in front of you. Slowly, slowly, slowly roll your way up to stand. Take that little shoulder roll at the top. I'm just going to come to the other end of my mat so I can mirror you. Now you can keep your feet hip width apart for this next one. Or if you want a little extra balance challenge, bring your feet together as you bring your hands to your heart. Lovely. So as you push your hips back into your chair pose, keep your hands to your heart and keep your chest lifted. So if you don't like it with your feet together, just go ahead and bring your feet hip width apart. Lovely. I'm going to take a little twist to the right. Just bring the left hand to the outside of that right leg. Other hand on your low back as you twist the body round, keeping both knees pointing forwards. Sinking those hips a little deeper as you come back through center. And then we'll swap sides as you turn to the left. Right hand comes to outside of thigh, other hand wraps behind you. Keeping those knees together. Lovely, coming all the way back, bringing the hands to your heart. Stepping those feet apart as you reach up towards the ceiling, taking an inhale. And exhale, we fold. Sliding or stepping your right leg back. This time dropping the heel in, ready for a warrior two. So go ahead and scooch that front foot between your front hands. And then rise on up into your warrior two. So a little bit wider than our warrior one. Still making sure that that front knee is above your ankle. Reaching forwards, left hand or forearm to thigh, so we can take that right arm all the way up. Lovely, coming all the way up and over. Take an inhale as you reverse. And exhale, let's come forwards and down. Lovely, one more time. Inhale to sweep up and back. This time as you exhale, maybe you bring that left hand a little lower down. Lovely, coming all the way up and back. Let's pause in that reverse warrior, knowing that you can stay here this morning as you just sink into that front knee. Or for a little bit extra, pick up your front heel and just sink a little deeper. Lovely, lowering that heel, inhaling into your warrior. And as you exhale, take the hands down and pivot on the back foot. Drop the hips, take that left arm up to the sky as you inhale, a little twist. And exhale to lower. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Lovely. From your downward dog, again, option to rest, or again, that little flow. Inhale to plank. Exhale to lower. Lovely. Let's rise up through our cobra or maybe an upward dog. We'll meet in the downward facing dog. From your downward dog, knowing that you can walk your feet, or again, that little blast of energy as you bring your feet together, bending your knees, and as you inhale, walk, step, or hop to the top of your mat. And exhale to fold. Let's rise on up. Bringing those hands together at the heart. Let's try that little sequence, that final flow on the other side. So as you bring your feet together for that little extra balance challenge, or bring the feet apart, we'll find that chair pose. So hips back but heart high. We're going to take that little twist round to the left. Option, we do the same as we did before, right hand to outside of leg, other hand on your low back. If you want a little bit more, bring the hands to your heart, sink a little deeper, and see if you can bring your right elbow over your left thigh and press your palms together. Make sure those knees aren't sliding forwards of each other as you just lean back ever so slightly to find that stretch. Come all the way back. And then we'll swap sides, so you can either bring your left hand to the outside of the thigh or left elbow over thigh, sinking a little bit deeper. You decide this morning. Lovely, coming all the way back, separating your feet as you sweep the arms up. And exhale to fold. And this time, left leg, slide or step it back, dropping that back heel in, lining up the heel with the arch of the back foot for your warrior two on the other side. So setting those arms out level with the shoulders. Again, checking in with that front knee. And then leaning forwards, this time left arm comes all the way up and over. And then as we inhale, we reverse, swapping the arms. Exhale, coming forwards and down. And inhale, coming all the way up and back. And one more each way. So maybe this time you bring that right hand a little lower down as you drop the hips. And then we reverse and we pause, taking that right arm up and back. And maybe you stay there. Or just lift that front heel and sink a little deeper if that works for you. Lovely, dropping the heel, taking that little tick-tock of the hands down, pivoting on the back foot. Final time, right arm lifts up. And coming all the way back down. Now we can meet in a downward dog. From your downward dog, lowering down onto all fours. Maybe you keep your knees parallel or you can widen your knees. Point your big toes together as you take a moment in child pose. And just be mindful if you've got your arms stretched out in front of me like I have, that you're not dragging your shoulders up towards your ears. So maybe soften the elbows out to the side so you can make a little pillow for your head. Just giving the chest and shoulders a chance to release there. Your shoulders are feeling a little tight after those humble warriors. And you can bring your knees into parallel and just feed the arms back. Alongside you with your palms flipped up to the ceiling, just to let the shoulders release. Whatever works for you this morning. Slowly, slowly, finding your way up onto all fours. And from all fours, take a little walk forwards to the top of your mat, so you've got space behind you, as we come into a little softer version of our pigeon pose. So we're going to slide that right leg all the way back behind you. Just roll over your toes. Hips are square to your mat. And now start to slide your right leg back, walking your hands towards that left knee until you can sit on that left heel. Pushing out through that right heel, you can keep your back knee lifted, toes tucked, or drop the knee and flatten the foot, your choice. Maybe you keep your chest high up on your fingertips, or like we do in our regular pigeon pose, you can drop down onto your forearms, maybe forehead on your hands, rolling both hips down towards the floor. So just a softer, more accessible version of our pigeon pose. You've got that back heel lifted. We're pushing the heel away from you as you just take a few more deep breaths here. Slowing down for those stretches. Opening up into the front of the hip. And slowly, slowly lifting your chest up. We'll drag that right foot back in, so you're back on all fours, and we'll swap sides. So left leg slides back behind you. And we just roll over the toes a couple of times there to stretch the foot. And then we slide the left leg back, walking your hands back towards that right knee till you're sitting on your right heel, pushing that left heel away from you. Maybe you keep the knee lifted, or again, you can drop the knee and flatten the toes for a less intense stretch. Maybe you stay up on your fingertips, or again, you can drop yourself down. And we'll stay here for 4 or 5 breaths. Pushing out through that back heel if you've got the knee lifted, rolling that left hip towards the floor. And slowly lowering that back knee if you've got it tucked under. So you can lift your chest up, walking those hands back towards you. We're just going to drop the hips to the side so you can swing both legs out in front of you. Giving them a little shake there. Reaching the arms up towards the ceiling. And taking your forward fold today, which might mean bending the knees, wrapping your hands underneath your thighs. Or coming down over the legs, wherever you are, maybe close down the eyes here as we find those forward folds. Forward folds said to be more introspective. more inward looking. So that's why we tend to do them at the end of a practice, having opened up with our little flow sequence, that we then come into these more quieter, introspective poses towards the end of a practice. Beginning to bring the energy back down and inwards. You're ready, slowly, slowly, slowly coming all the way back up. And bringing that right foot in towards you. I'm going to keep the foot on the inside this time as you bring your left hand or elbow to the knee. Take a big circle with the right hand so the fingertips come down behind you. Lifting up and out with the hips as you turn towards that knee. Keep that left leg nice and strong there. Coming back through the center, letting that right knee drop open. This time bringing the right hand behind your hip. Left arm sweeps in front of the face, maybe picking up your hips as you press the hips forwards and take that top arm back behind you. And then lowering all the way down. Bending that knee and bringing the other foot in. Give yourself a nice hug there. Rounding the back. And then this time, keeping the left knee bent, slide that right leg out in front of you. We'll keep the foot again on the inside. Right hand or elbow brings the knee in. Left arm takes that circle back behind you, coming up onto your fingertips so you can turn the chest. Softening your gaze over that back shoulder. And coming back to center, letting that left knee roll open, left hand behind the hip, and maybe just stay there, sweeping the arm in front of you, or again, you can pick up your hips and arc the body gently backwards. Lovely, coming all the way back down. And again, bending both knees, rounding the back into one final hug. If you're in a colder room and you need to pop an extra layer on, feel free. And rolling down onto your back, bringing both knees with you. Maybe just have a little rock side to side there. Again, that sense of just letting your back body just burrow itself into the mat. Keeping both hands on that right knee, send that left leg out in front of you. You can bend the knee if your back feels a little tight today, otherwise see if you can keep that leg straight as you hug the knee in. Again, knowing you can bend the opposite knee, hold around the back of the right leg. And we'll take the leg back up into that little hamstring stretch, flexing the foot, making sure that you've got even weight through the back of the hips there. You've not hoiked that right hip off the floor. Lovely, bringing that right knee into your chest. And then we swap sides, left knee comes up and in, right leg extends, or you can keep the knee bent and the foot on the floor. Tucking the chin in as you hug that knee. And again, keeping that thigh close towards you. Find your hamstring stretch. So maybe you want to bend the other leg. Place a foot on the floor if the back feels a little tight today. And then bending the knee. Sliding the other foot in so you can bring both knees up and in towards your chest. Have a little rock, have a little roll maybe. And then with the knees to your chest, maybe once more, bringing your nose towards your knees, shoulders away from ears. Can you come any closer than you could at the beginning, maybe? And then lower the head, lower the shoulders, and find a position for your final Shavasana. Again, you can keep the knees bent, the feet wide, and rest the knees together, or extend the legs out in front of you. I'm just going to come up to seated so I can talk to you. So wherever you are, taking a moment to get yourself settled, sorted, making sure you're warm and comfortable. Closing down the eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, let the body accept gratefully and gracefully the support of the floor beneath you. No need to grip or hold across the shoulders and the hips. So weather gets colder, many of us, including myself, have got that tendency to brace ourselves against that wintry weather, bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, maybe frowning or clenching our jaw. So just see if you can bring that element of softness now to your Shavasana. There's no bracing. There's no tightening. There's only that sense of letting go and releasing. Softness. Beginning to once more deepen and lengthen each inhale and exhale. Let's be ready ourselves for the rest of the week. Maybe setting that intention the rest of the day, the rest of the week, maybe the rest of this season, to treat ourselves like Catherine May does, as a favoured child, nurturing ourselves, looking after ourselves. So you begin to deepen and lengthen your breath, bringing a little movement back into your fingertips, maybe your toes wiggling, fingertips wiggling, maybe a little roll across the back of your head. If you want to stretch the legs out and reach the arms back into one last glorious full body stretch, feel free. Before you bring the knees up and in towards your chest. You'll roll onto one side and slowly come up to seated when you're ready. Bringing hands together at your heart, dropping your chin down towards your fingertips. Once more, relaxing those shoulders. Take a lovely deep breath in together, sweeping the arms all the way out and up. And bringing the hands down to the heart, thanking one another for sharing this winter flow. Wrapping up nice and warm today. And namaste. Thank you for coming. Thank you.